We are known for obviously being a great facility and having sun and fun here, but you know, we have aspirations of commercial service one day, and we maintain our facility up to FAA Part 139 standards. That means each day we go out and inspect our facility twice, how we maintain our pavements, our signage, our protection, our fencing around the airport. There's specific requirements that we follow to operate the airport, and then the FAA comes to certify us every year and make sure we're doing what we're supposed to be doing to operate the safest facility. Part of that is with our airport certification manuals, every 3 years we do what's called a triennial exercise. So we simulate an aircraft accident on the airport, and then we engage all the emergency agencies around the city of Lakeland and obviously the county, try to simulate as real of an event as possible. God forbid it ever happens, but we need to know how to do it and how to talk to each other and communicate, you know, when these things happen, and go through the paces. We had well over a dozen agencies that participated. I know there are well over 150 volunteers that are out here as well. It was a great day, weather was perfect, and you know, we appreciate everybody that participated here, because this is a very important event for us, for not only us but the rest of the community.
So this year's exercise, the scenario was a 737 was coming in, had declared an emergency and diverted to our airport, and landed long, overran the runway, and ended up in the solar farm on the west end of the airport. And the scenario started off with the Lakeland Tower ringing down and using our crash foam procedures, dispatching the units at the airport and notifying our dispatch at the same time. This drill brings all the community responders together that would work together in the event of a real emergency at the airport. For an aircraft emergency at the airport, Lakeland Fire Department's response plan includes an ARF truck, which is Aircraft Firefighting and Rescue. Our particular truck carries 1,500 gallons of water, and it is designed to put a foam blanket down. It carries foam concentrate and puts out a finished product of foam on the ground to cover jet fuel and to help put jet fuel out. 2 engines, a rescue truck, a heavy rescue truck, and a battalion chief. We also at the same time have automatic aid with Polk County, and we request one of their medical supervisors, 2 ambulances, and a water tender. As other units from within the City of Lakeland Fire Department and Polk County Fire Rescue began to arrive on scene, then they were plugged into their positions within the incident command system and assigned tasks based on what type of resource they were, whether it was a fire engine, an ambulance, or a chief officer.
Once I get on scene, I'll set up that command post. I'll put calls out to all the big hitters from the other organizations that I need to be at that command post to set up what we call unified command. So at this point, unified command for this exercise is going to be, of course, the fire department, and then we'll have a representative from the Lakeland Police Department, also airport personnel, and then Lakeland Electric personnel also. In addition, I will call out Lakeland Emergency Management as well as Polk County Emergency Management to come to the command post. And then from that point, instead of having a single command where we're in charge, now we have a unified command where we kind of share that responsibility. I'm the coordinator there, being that it's in my city and my turf, and then I coordinate with all the other incident commanders, so to speak, from their organizations. At that point, we start formulating our game plan. The initial incident commander moves into the operations role, and then he runs basically the boots on the ground, the stuff out there in the field.
During the exercise, we were simulating a mass casualty incident, which is a large number of victims, large enough to tax our local system. So with this, we used several ambulances to simulate transporting patients to the local area hospitals. Those ambulances were staged where they normally would be. They would come in, they would pick up the patient. As they were triaged, obviously the most injured getting transported first. They would then take those patients out and simulate transporting them to the hospital. They didn't actually take them all the way to a hospital. They would drop that patient off and they would go back to staging and come in again as if they had gone to the hospital and are returning to pick up another patient. So in this situation, Lakeland Regional Health became full to their capacity. They had all the patients that they could handle. So at that time we had to start taking patients to other hospitals. We already have that in our plan. We have a list of hospitals. We know how many critical patients each hospital can take, and we know how many non-critical patients they can take. Solar panels are something that are relatively new as they are becoming more and more popular, and solar panels are popping up in more places. they presenting a new challenge to the fire service. The most interesting challenge is there's no way to turn that off. If there is sunlight, there's electricity being produced. We exercised a plan that we have in place to call our area resources to handle that, being Lakeland Electric and Sun Edison. We have agreements with them that in the event of a solar panel is involved in either a fire or an aircraft incident, that we can call on them to help us deal with that.
When we set up that unified command, we will always have a PIO, Public Information Officer, in the command post. That will be our one and only main point of contact for information release. And we will have regular briefings in the unified command post where we gather our data, we confirm the data, and we all agree on what data we're giving out, what information we're giving out to our one PIO contact, who will then release accurate, consistent, and timely information to the Joint Information Center, so all the PIOs are getting the same information at the same time.
One of our goals with the City of Lakeland is to have an informed and engaged citizenry, and that's really important in an emergency situation as well. And we have our media partners, so it's very important to feed the media correct, accurate, timely information so they can assist us in educating and informing our public as well. So in an emergency situation, communication is key. When you have multiple agencies come together and you're performing an emergency exercise, you set up what's known as a unified command center. And that's the command center where all logistics is laid out, including the emergency vehicles from the various agencies, coordination with area hospitals, law enforcement, so your public safety element as well as your emergency medical service element comes together. And then what you do is you put together what's known as a JIC, or a Joint Information Center. And during the exercise, that's where I was housed, if you will. I was the head PIO at the JIC. And what we do at a JIC is we really set up logistics. You try to, the whole purpose of that is to dispense accurate information and dispel any rumors that may pop up. You have to establish that pipeline of information from the Unified Command Center that's outlaying all logistics and where the information's feeding into from the field. You need someone there that can supply information to the JIC so all the PIOs can put together accurate information.
I am a public information officer with the Lakeland Fire Department, so I was based at Unified Command, and my role was to relay information back to our joint group that was based out of the Hilton Hotel on airport property. So there were times where we were given a number of souls on board, and then that would change and change again, and that's very much something that could happen in a real situation where, you know, in a frantic situation, emergency responders are out and about looking for body counts or victims. And those numbers kept changing, so we had to be very careful when we put that information out, because we'd hate to give someone false hope or make it seem a lot worse than it may actually be.
Sometimes you get information in the beginning, and then over time that gets corrected. So you've got to always be on top of that. We had on our team, we had Fire Department, Lakeland Fire Department represented, the Lakeland Police Department represented, Lakeland Regional Health represented, members from Lakeland Electric represented, and then the City of Lakeland. It's a good team. And we knew right away what we needed to do going in, and that just gives me the confidence knowing if something in the real world were to happen, we could handle it.
You know, the certification for us, it's not required for most airports, so there are a lot of smaller general aviation airports that don't have an FAR Part 139 certificate, but for us it means, and to the flying public and people that will use this facility one day, it means that we operate this facility to the highest standards required by the FAA. So there are specific minimum things that we need to do, but we take it to the max, and we want to have a great facility and provide the best customer service and the most safety we can here at the airport. You know, we have 75 businesses and organizations here. 1,000 people a day go to work in our facilities. We have 1 million square feet of facilities, but we have, you know, youngsters as young as 16 in the pattern with fighter jets from Draken. So there's a lot to upkeep and a lot to take care of, but we maintain this facility to the highest standards.
As with any exercise, we always look for what will work and what won't work. In this exercise, we found some things that worked really well, and we found some things that we can improve on and make better. Part of this process, now that it's all done, there were evaluators from all over the state of Florida that came. Just for the aircraft rescue and firefighting portion of it, we had evaluators from Orlando Sanford International Airport, Punta Gorda Airport, which is Charlotte County Fire and EMS. We had a professor from Embry-Riddle. We also had a fire truck manufacturer that was represented, and St. Pete Clearwater National Airport sent a representative to evaluate. So all of those people will put together an evaluation. They had a checklist to go by, different things to make sure happened, and to give comments on what they thought worked and what they thought needed improved. So we will compile all of that over the next couple months, and an after-action report will be developed and disseminated, and we will meet again and discuss the results of all those evaluations, and we'll implement any changes that are recommended.
I think it went very well. We always learn a lot from those exercises, which is the purpose of having them.
I will say I've been in the airport industry for 15 years, and this is the best training exercise I've ever been a part in, as real as it possibly can be. It was a great event, and just appreciate everybody's efforts and everybody that participated to put this event on.